Welcome to this exploration of one of history's most influential figures, Gaius Julius Caesar. Born in 100 BC into a patrician family, Caesar's life would come to shape the course of Western civilization. I've long been fascinated by Caesar's meteoric rise to power and the lasting impact he had on Rome and beyond. Today, we'll delve into the key events and decisions that propelled Caesar from a relatively unremarkable aristocrat to the most powerful man in the Roman world. Caesar's early life was marked by the tumultuous period of Sulla's dictatorship. As a young man, he found himself on the wrong side of Sulla's purges due to his family connections to Marius. This brush with danger likely instilled in Caesar a keen sense of political survival that would serve him well throughout his career. Despite the risks, Caesar refused Sulla's demands to divorce his wife Cornelia, showing an early glimpse of the stubborn determination that would become his hallmark. After Sulla's death, Caesar began his political career in earnest. He served as a military tribune and later as quaestor in Hispania Ulteria. These early positions gave Caesar valuable experience in both military and civil administration. However, it was his election as aedile in 65 BC that truly launched his public career. In this role, Caesar staged lavish games and public works projects, winning popular support that would prove crucial in his later bids for power. I came, I saw, I conquered. One of the most pivotal moments in Caesar's career was the formation of the First Triumvirate in 60 BC. This informal alliance between Caesar, Pompey and Crassus effectively dominated Roman politics for several years. I've always found it fascinating how Caesar managed to bring together two powerful but rival figures like Pompey and Crassus. It was a masterful display of political acumen, balancing competing interests to achieve his own goals. The triumvirate was not without its critics, of course. Cato the Younger and Cicero, in particular, saw it as a threat to the traditional republican system, and in many ways, they were right. The alliance allowed Caesar to secure his election as consul for 59 BC, despite strong opposition from the conservative faction in the Senate. It's worth noting that this was no mean feat. The consular elections were fiercely competitive, and Caesar's victory was a testament to his growing power and influence. As consul, Caesar wasted no time in pushing through a series of populist reforms, including a land distribution bill that was particularly favourable to Pompey's veterans. These actions further cemented his support among the common people and the military, but they also deepened the rift between Caesar and the senatorial elite. It's a pattern we see repeated throughout Caesar's career: bold, often controversial actions that win him popular support at the cost of alienating the traditional power structures. I would rather be first in a village than second in Rome. The Gallic Wars, which lasted from 58 to 50 BC, were undoubtedly the making of Caesar as a military commander. These campaigns not only expanded Rome's territory, but also provided Caesar with immense wealth, a battle-hardened army, and a reputation as a brilliant general. I've always been struck by the scale of Caesar's achievements in Gaul. He effectively conquered an area roughly equivalent to modern France, Belgium, and parts of Switzerland, a feat that had eluded Rome for generations. One of the most significant battles of the Gallic Wars was the Siege of Alesia in 52 BC. This engagement saw Caesar defeat the Gallic leader Vercingetorix, effectively ending organised resistance to Roman rule in Gaul. The battle is a prime example of Caesar's tactical genius. He managed to besiege the Gallic fortress while simultaneously defending against a massive relief force, a feat that required intricate planning and precise execution. It's worth noting that Caesar's success in Gaul was not just military. He also showed considerable political skill in his dealings with the various Gallic tribes, often playing them off against each other. This divide-and-conquer strategy, combined with his military prowess, allowed him to subdue a vast and complex region with relatively limited resources. The Gallic Wars also provided Caesar with a platform to build his reputation back in Rome. His detailed accounts of the campaigns, the famous commentary De Bello Gallico, were widely read and admired, further enhancing his popular appeal. In war, events of importance are the result of trivial causes. crossing of the Rubicon in 49 BC marks one of the most dramatic moments in Roman history. By leading his army across this small river, Caesar effectively declared war on the Roman state. It's a moment that has captured the imagination of historians and writers for centuries, and with good reason. The decision to cross the Rubicon was a point of no return for Caesar, a bold gamble that would either lead to supreme power or utter ruin. The ensuing civil war pitted Caesar against his former ally Pompey and the majority of the Senate. It was a conflict that would rage across the Mediterranean world for the next 4 years. Caesar's victory at Pharsalus in 48 BC was particularly decisive, forcing Pompey to flee to Egypt, where he was later assassinated. I've always found it intriguing how quickly the balance of power shifted during this period. Caesar, who had been declared an enemy of the state, managed to turn the tables and emerge as the dominant force in Roman politics. Following his victory in the Civil War, Caesar consolidated his power in Rome. He was appointed dictator, initially for a year, but later for life. This period saw Caesar implement a wide range of reforms, from overhauling the Roman calendar to expanding citizenship rights. However, his increasing power and the honours heaped upon him also bred resentment among the senatorial class. This tension would ultimately lead to his assassination on the Ides of March, 44 BC. As a rule, men worry more about what they can't see than about what they can. The assassination of Julius Caesar on the Ides of March, 44 BC, far from restoring the Republic as the conspirators had hoped, instead plunged Rome into another round of civil wars. These conflicts would ultimately lead to the establishment of the Roman Empire under Caesar's adopted heir, Octavian, later known as Augustus. It's a fascinating historical irony that the very act meant to prevent one-man rule in Rome instead paved the way for centuries of imperial governance. Caesar's legacy extends far beyond the political upheavals that followed his death. His military conquest vastly expanded the territory under Roman control, laying the groundwork for the empire that would emerge. His reforms in areas such as the calendar, which gave us the Julian calendar that formed the basis of our modern calendar, had lasting impacts. Even linguistically, Caesar's influence persists. His name became synonymous with imperial rule, giving us words like Kaiser and Tsar. In many ways, Caesar represents a turning point in Roman history, the moment when the republican system, already straining under the weight of empire, finally gave way to autocratic rule. While he never officially ended the Republic, his actions and the reactions they provoked set in motion the events that would transform Rome from a republican city-state to a vast, centrally governed empire. It's a legacy that continues to fascinate and divide historians to this day. I love the name of honour more than I fear death. As we conclude our exploration of Julius Caesar's life and legacy, I'm struck by the enduring impact of this singular figure. From his military conquest to his political reforms, Caesar left an indelible mark on Western civilization. His life serves as a testament to the power of ambition, political acumen, and military genius, but also as a cautionary tale about the fragility of republican institutions in the face of popular authoritarianism. As we continue to grapple with questions of power, democracy, and leadership in our own time, the story of Julius Caesar remains as relevant and thought-provoking as ever. Thank you for joining me on this journey through one of history's most fascinating lives. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Your support truly helps the channel grow, and I'm always eager to hear what historical topics you'd like me to cover in future episodes.